fam 305. Yes, we live. The fam 305. Take a ride. The fam 305. Yes, all night. The fam 305. Let's get right. The fam 305. Sit back and take a ride. The fam 305. Let Guru pick your mind. The fam 305. Mama G ready all the time. The fam 305. K-Dub sniping on the right. The fam 305. Dre talking ish all night. The fam 305. Like, share, and subscribe. The fam 305. The fam 305. The fam 305. Like, share, and subscribe. Hey, no pa tanto. No pa tanto. Hey, no pa tanto. Hey, no pa tanto. No pa tanto. No pa tanto. No pa tanto.
There you go.
All right, y'all. Here's your host for tonight for the Fam 305 podcast.
Yeah, that's horrible when people don't come. That's the worst. No pa tanto.
Hello.
Yo.
Hello.
Hello. Peace to the Rockies.
Isn't that the rate from the radio thing?
Yeah. West of the Rockies. Art Bell, bro. That guy was the shit. Dude, that used to what he used to listen to that shit. He got me into listening to that. Guy's dead now, but they still have it. They just have it another guy who does it now.
Unfortunately.
George Norrie, the guy's name is. He's pretty good, but he's no Art Bell, bro. Art Bell was like one of a kind. So what's up, man?
Not much, just playing COD right now, just waiting for y'all.
I got on the other night. I wanted to talk about that in this podcast because we can do like a more gaming eccentric because Mama G ain't into games. Dre is, but Dre's Dre. But
No, Dre plays. Dre's playing with Josh the other day.
yeah, no. I mean, honestly, Dre's
Let
fine.
me see if Josh wants to join on this podcast.
Yeah, we can talk.
Guy.
Right, we can talk about.
Josh, do you want to? We're doing a mini podcast. 3 minutes.
Doing a
you want to jump in
gaming.
and talk about the war.
Yeah,
talk about gaming. And talk about the war and all that.
Yeah,
Josh?
tell him to jump in.
We need one more person. Yeah, Josh said yeah. I'm gonna send.
We'll call it.
Yeah,
send the link.
Send the link.
We'll do the los tres hermanos.
So ugly when he was trying to say yes. He's like. Yeah.
Oh, Drayton. Drayton.
What is it, Drake? I saw your name just now. What is it? Drayton. He's called
Vladimir Drayton.
No,
bro,
it's
you gotta watch the South Park episode.
It's what's the
oh my god.
What's the Andres version of for a European version of Andres? What's that? You'd be like
Vladimir. Andre with an I. You're Andre.
Yeah,
he's Andre with an I.
He's Andre. Andrejkovic.
Comrade Drejkovic, welcome to the podcast. Today we will.
That's gonna be my new rap name, dog.
Drejkovic. Is that gonna be your alternate? Like they always have alternate names. These performers, they have like 2 or 3 names and shit. It's like, bro, you're fucking one person. Why do you got to change your name? Why you just want to sell more records?
You gotta have multiple personalities,
Oh, okay.
Nikolai Drakovic, you feel me?
There you go. The birth of a new rapper, Nikolai Drakovic. I kick beard stylers. I kill Ukrainians. I'm badass. Oh my god, bro. So, yeah, like I was telling Kevin Dre, we can do more of a gaming centric. We can hold off on a lot of that other shit. We can save that for I mean, there's plenty of stuff going out there, but we can keep it light and we don't have to go too crazy because
right now.
Yeah, Josh is gonna get in, Dre.
Josh,
Jesus Christ. Where's my soundboard?
You want to call your phone?
Soundboard.
I just text your phone.
But Dre, But yeah, dude, it's just getting crazy over there, bro. I don't know, man. Is Dre still here? Is Dracovic still here? Dracovic. Dracovic. Is everybody gone?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard they're firing on the European power plant.
Yeah, I've been listening to it. It's all big a whole big nothing burger. There was a fire at an administrative building next door, like outside of the actual where the actual
My
domes
bad,
are,
guys.
and
I
yeah,
had to
they
call
were firing
Josh's phone real
guns.
quick. I sent you the link. You got to join it
That's
through your
fine.
phone. You got your AirPods?
And they're good. They're saying for that shit to
You
get
want to
really
use? You
bad,
want to use
they'd
the
have to
headphones?
you'd have to hit like a
Headphones.
ballistic missile, and even then, that thing can take an airplane. So I'm not like I'm listening to these guys talk, and I'm just like, we're good.
It's all
We're
hype.
good. Right. Some of it is just the Ukrainians hyping shit up and trying to get people. Honestly, I believe that Putin does want the U.S. to start fighting so we can start World War III, like you were saying, Dre. I think you're
Yeah,
onto
because
something. You know.
yeah, I think so too. I agree with Dre with the way because what's going to happen? I think he's just testing waters and see
Right.
what he can do
How?
now,
Yeah.
and
What
then
he can
and
do.
because yeah, what
He's
he
like
can do
sticking his
now and
neck
get
out.
away with.
Right.
Yeah, like he can get
He
away
has
with it.
he has to do it now. The problem is that if he don't do it now, he'll never do it because he has he's built up the army. He has the strength. He has the numbers. You know, America's weak, and you know, all of these factors. The only thing
All of
like
these things.
all of these things. The only problem is that you got to watch out for the big bad wolf China because they could just come like a thief in the night and just take everything. If it starts up.
China. I ain't worried about China, bro. I ain't worried about China. Not right now. That's like in 10 years from now. Right now, it's all about Russia and the U.S. But we want to join. We want to bring in the third brother, the youngest brother. They know they right. He's known as they call him Jesus. They also call him the Slime Baby Grogu. And he's here with us, our little brother. What's up, Jay?
Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? You already know what time it is. It's time to slime it up, wipe the truth down with the facts. You know what I'm saying? And get down
Yes.
and dirty with the slime.
You're bringing it, huh?
Yes, yes, yes. You know, there was one thing I wanted to mention. You guys had said something about not worrying about certain countries.
Yeah. Not
And,
right
you know,
now.
I feel like there's always the scene that we can't see because we're not the politicians, we're not involved with certain, we would say, aspects of the army and the government. And what I really want to say is Russia doesn't really want the Ukraine to get any more affiliated or become a part of NATO. And we have to understand there's also nations in that region of the world where the East meets the West, where communism and democracy collide, that there's nations that don't really feel the benefit of being a part of NATO. And there have been situations where we have ignored countries trying to implement democracy, but communism, coup d'etats, and government regimes are beginning to become more and more apparent, like Turkey, Moldova, Belarus, countries that they feel the brunt of Russia's influence and they feel very distant from the Western world in terms of technology, assistance, and overall UN support. So these are the things that we have to be careful about in the sense that Turkey almost had a coup d'etat, America didn't do anything, or Greece and Cyprus now feel the pressure of being a part of the UN, the European economy, but see Russia as a big benefactor in terms of the Eastern nations that are siding with Russia. And I want to talk about this because I feel like we worry about the big bad wolf, but we forget about the little piggies that don't mind working for the wolf that we thought
Right,
were always on
right,
our side.
right. But the thing is that these small countries they get swooped up by these big countries because they can't defend themselves. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. And we also have to look at it
That's
from
why
the
they have
angle,
NATO. That's why we have
how
NATO.
long
For
has this
certain
been
countries.
fermenting? You know, Russia and Ukraine signed a ceasefire, what, 7, 8 years ago when I was in high school, but separatists were still fighting it out. There were still roadblocks. We would say Ukraine is a whole country, but when we look at the real map, we would say that the Crimean Peninsula, this and that, has been in deep Russian occupation for a long time. And we couldn't really consider the world in peace, or in a sense, Russia had backed off. We had just kind of got caught up in the economic recession. Coronavirus came, and now that the countries
Yes.
thought they were recovering from Corona, it seems like the Russians has sprung this very intuitive and well timed,
Yes.
approach and opportunity to bringing back that Russian influence to the Eastern world.
Yeah. Man, you have some great, coherent, well articulated points. You sound like you should be on MSNBC right now talking
The
to
stranger thing to me is that this part of the world has been the most fought over. This is where
why?
Well, it's because we have to think of it this way. The Black Sea is the only ocean that connects the east and the west part of the world. We would consider Turkey and Greece are kind of like those two nations. We were like, oh, you're Greek, oh, you're European, oh, you're Turkish, oh, you're that other side. We don't really look at those two parts as one. And there's a lot of cultural diversity, and this diversity can be taken advantage of. And Russia knows this. Russia is not just there isn't just one ethnicity or nationality in Russia
Oh
per
no,
se.
of course not.
We can understand all those Stans in Georgia and countries like that fought hard to break away from this Russian regime or this Russian brainwashing of being Russian, whatever
Right.
that really means. Because there's even Russians today, like I saw a tennis player write on a camera with a pen, "No war."
Yeah, I saw that.
A famous Russian who's known for his athleticism doesn't support the government's, we would say, modus operandi. And that kind of surprises me because I know that Russia is a bit strict when it comes to your own expression of how the government operates.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Russia is, and back in the 90s, it collapsed. 91, obviously, it collapsed. Soviet Union collapsed, and they tried to take hold of democracy. They tried, but again, corruption and the evil of men, and they could not completely turn themselves into a democracy. And the mob, these people took over these old KGB assets like Putin and his buddies. And now we have is kind of like a kleptop. They call it a kleptocracy. I can't even say the word.
Would we say we have an oligarchy of government snakes, people that use force with reasonable intent, but at the same time, like very, very shady intentions? What does Russia hope to gain by taking back Ukraine?
Well, it used to be part of Russia. It used to be part of Russia, and it's got resources. It's got one of the largest oil and gas untapped reserves in the Black Sea.
Correct.
That's a lot of money, and oil's major export is oil.
That nation really craters around the Black Sea the most. That's the nation that has the most landmass around it.
It's the largest country in Europe.
Correct.
Okay, so Dre, you were gonna say something, Dre?
Yeah, I was gonna say, talk about the oligarchs and
the mobsters. Let's call them
mobsters. Well, everybody, we live in a Candyland world where people think that the government runs the countries and shit like that.
People think the government cares. They only govern with the intent to take advantage and deprive people to keep them in the loop or in the system.
Right, but these oligarchs,
we would be in paradise, but the government can't have that.
But that's the argument that
these rich. No, let me just say, these people think that the government and like this guy, all of these people are KGB, CIA, Mossad assets. All of these presidents, they get ran by these undercover. You want to call them? You think that they're government, but they're really oligarchs and fucking mobsters. The whole world is ran like that. Even here, you know what I mean? They're ran by the cabal.
And the problem is people are kind of in the dark about the dynamics of how does this person at the top maintain this stability, these connections, and this imposing influence? People think that a politician holds all the one power. We have to really understand who backs Putin, who has initiated, who has agreed.
His millionaire mobster friends and billionaire mobster friends. That's who keeps him quiet because he's making money for them. That's why they marry. That's why they're doing what they're doing now and coming after all these billionaires.
I think the most interesting concept, I tell people, war is a dirty business. You think that these guys in suits and ties are clean men? They wouldn't send droids to war. They wouldn't fight on the front lines themselves. These people are grubby, ambitious cowards.
Yep.
They don't care how it gets done as long as their hands
Yep.
don't get dirty
Yep.
and they don't
Yep.
have to suffer the brunt
Yep.
of the cold and bloody war that people face.
Mhm.
I remember just that you mentioned that about these grubby politicians. I remember a song by Pearl Jam. It's not one of their more popular ones. When you think of Pearl Jam, you think of Jeremy and some other songs. But I think of the song called "Do the Evolution," and the song is basically talks about how these religious leaders and these leaders, they brainwash people and they send people to do things for their bidding, and it's so true. I mean, there's these leaders around the world that are getting covered by, you can say, by the cabal, by nefarious, actors, and they are. It's all about power. At the end of the day,
it's
the
interesting.
derivative. It's all about
It's
power
interesting
and
that you say
accumulating
that.
power and money.
I want to go back to something that's a little bit more far
Yes,
back
exactly. Yes.
in terms of time.
I
But
love
want
that.
somebody
I
to
love
notice something. Back in the days of the Romans, they were the biggest empire ever to exist. I want people to know that the people who were like senators and quaetors, the highest ranking Roman was the Pontifex Maximus, and he was a man.
Oh, I
who
saw
had
Gladiator. I remember that movie. I'm sorry.
He had the religious authority and the highest authority. What he said is what the gods had decreed. But let's be honest.
The gods, right?
To who knows what the gods desire?
The gods that
man
they're
sees it to his benefit.
You're right.
The Pope will say, "God told me to give everybody rice."
How do we know?
But the Pope will be like, "How do we make some money off of giving everybody rice?"
Right.
And that's the problem.
Right.
Pontifex Maximus was a judicial, religious, governmental officer who held control over the tribunes, the commanding officer. He could say, "You know what? The God doesn't want you to be the commander. I can't have you enforce these laws," because he was perceiving them in his judicial holy sentimentality. So we have to look at the world, and I always say this quote: "We were all born animals. Few of us grow to be human." People sometimes use God's name to do animalistic things. And
I
try
agree.
to justify the horrible actions.
Dude, that's why I say religion is the root. Money and religion are two roots of all evil.
Because if we can mold what you believe in, if we can change your faith, we can structure how you think and what you will morally accept and what you will fight for.
Yep.
And these are all over concepts. Listen, I believe there's a God, and Lord Almighty, do I know that we're on some bullshit. And I tell people, this is another concept I talk about, with my friend earlier today. I say people don't realize how caught up they get into the bullshit. People try to stop the pig from rolling in the mud, and they end up just like the pig. And we all get chopped up at the end of the day if we don't realize that if we just wait for the rain, the mud will come right off. We got to wait for the world to organically heal. My origin as a Latin, Chile, the country's motto is by reason or by force. La razón y la fuerza. If we can't be reasonable,
A la fuerza.
We're going to have to force people to get with the program. And that seems like where things are going. And that happens slowly and surely with the coronavirus. I think it's interesting that we've kind of forgot about the coronavirus and we've spurned into this open conflict where the UN and NATO doesn't really know how to react because they don't want to put too much pressure.
And yes.
Okay, Dre. All right, Wheelhouse. You just do Dre a change up. All right, Dre. Go ahead. you just basically said, "Go ahead, Dre. Tear the COVID virus apart." Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
I can smell the COVID in the air.
Yeah. It gets pushed out the way by missile powder.
But what works? But yes, what listen, at the end of the day, with the news media, it's what they want you to see to get an elicited emotion. And right now, what's getting people emotional? Battle, war, people dying.
You know what I kind of find.
Daughter goodbye.
I know.
People fear a missile more than they fear disease.
Right. They know how to manipulate the airwaves, bro. The media is the cabal control for the whole planet.
Right.
They have to put this on TV to get everybody's attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to remind people, this conflict in Ukraine had been going on for 7 years. This is not a surprise to anyone.
No, this 2000. Fuck that, 2008. I mean, you go far as back as 2008.
Yeah.
when they
Trust me,
started shit. In
I was in high
2014,
school
they took
listening to
Crimea
Obama
and
saying,
Donbass.
you know, we can't let
You
this
know.
slide, but it was still sliding.
They let it go. Yeah, well.
You know, there's videos on YouTube of Vice with people having shootouts in hospitals with Russian, Ukrainian separatists, whatever that really means.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
Propaganda. That's what it is. It's all
what-
fucking
what-
Russian.
why
what
were there
I
mayors
got a
and
question.
governors of Ukrainian cities putting up a Russian flag before Russian troops even came?
Because there's Russians and
Listen,
Ukrainians living.
I got a
There's a lot of
question.
Russians living in
I
Ukraine.
got a
Yeah.
question
You
for
got a
Guru.
question.
I got a question for Guru. So
Grogu.
Grogu and Guru and whoever wants to go.
Me.
and Kata.
I got
Listen,
hold on, Jay, hold on. I got a question for you first.
Uh-huh.
All right, you ready?
Go ahead. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is,
Yeah.
Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, you guys know
He's Jewish. He's Jewish, by the way.
No, of course, he's a fucking asset. He's a CIA asset. But besides the fact,
he's a Nazi, though.
He was an actor who made a movie about running for president.
Right.
And when he finished the movie or the TV series, he runs for president and becomes the Ukrainian president.
Why?
I'm asking, how does this not have a little dash of
monkey see,
fishy in it?
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't it sound like somebody else? Wait. Doesn't it sound like somebody else who had a TV show and was very popular and people said, wow, this guy is successful. And then he runs for president and he gets a little help from the Russians. But we'll get to that later. And then he becomes president of the United States. Does it sound familiar? Yeah, it does sound familiar.
So,
it's called the American dream. It's called capitalism.
It's called brainwash. It's called brainwash.
It's when you project something and you try to manifest it, and then you give people a teaser like, "Hey, this is what it looks like when I make this sandwich." But this is just a movie. People are like, "What if we had that in real life? What if you do something that makes me agree with the sandwich you're making and pay for it?"
You are so right, brother. You got to come on more often. You know that?
Yeah.
I hate to break from the podcast, but Josh, you bring a lot.
You put my government out there, you son of a gun.
Very good. We got to get a war for your ass to come on, huh?
He's like,
it's like whatever.
You are fake news.
Son of a gun.
You know, it's like, here's the thing. There's no such thing as fake news. It's just the truth becomes diluted the more mediums it spreads to, because every medium wants to turn that answer or that truth into an angle in which they can project it for their own benefit. You know, how many spies in the 80s in the Cold War were like, damn, this is facts? Let me tell this to this Indian spy over here and see if I can get some more dirt out of it. But it'll be a half lie, half truth.
But right. So
we do this to people in today's world.
Right. So going back to my question, what I'm saying is like, if this guy with no experience, I mean, zero experience. If you want to compare him to Trump, whoever you want to compare him to, don't you think? I mean, this type of thing. He's the damn president of Ukraine, the biggest European fucking
the biggest country in Europe by land size. Yes.
Yes. Right. So, somebody with no experience goes up there. He's just an easy person to be a puppet.
Yeah, because they know him. Well, yeah,
Don't
but
you think?
I do think I agree somewhat. But the guy before him, I forget the guy's name. The guy before him was a Putin puppet. Yeah, and they kicked his ass out. Yeah, so they went the other way, and they saw him on TV. So, he could become president. No.
You know, I think the world looks at it this way: if you can be a puppet and live in luxury, what happens if you seemingly just act as if you live in luxury? What happens if you seemingly just act as if your intentions are the best for the world?
Right, like somebody who was president the last 4 years, who they saw, oh, he's rich and he's successful, he owns all these buildings, he has a show on NBC. Well, wow, he speaks the truth. Maybe he should be our president because he's so truthful and he speaks his mind. Meanwhile, he's fucking shoveling money left and right from Russians and from other people, making deals with Saudis. So much.
Fake
so much shit. But you know, But
well,
anyway,
you have to realize this. You would notice that we don't know which side the Republicans or the Democrats are really on. They're on the side that will give them the influence.
They're on the same side. They're all about fucking power and money. They just play this game like WWE.
You know,
and
I'll put it
they
this
do
way:
this
who
shit.
can make?
Okay.
I feel like they're on a boat that inflates. Who can put the most air on their boat and make it float down the river the fastest and the longest?
Yeah, and get more votes.
You know,
More importantly,
I'm imagining
Listen.
Donald Trump was like, "Listen, I'm not a politician. I'm just a rich fat guy who likes to
Right.
spend
Yeah.
time with women."
right?
Pitton, you can
Exactly.
agree with
And
that.
underage.
And
And
owned by
yes.
Russians. And owned by
Putin's
Russians.
like,
And
you know how
yes.
many whores I've sent you in the last 2
And
years?
yes.
Yes, Trump. Tell us about all your whores that you've had, all your women, all your
You know,
European models.
I feel like Putin.
Well,
I feel like when Donald Trump gets
Come
called
on,
out by Putin,
baby Grogu, let Trump talk, man. Let Trump get in. Yeah, he's here.
well,
We have a special guest. He's calling in from Mar-a-Lago. He just finished doing a report on Fox News saying how the United States are attacking Ukrainians. So Donald, how you doing?
well, thank you so much, Guru. I was about to say your government name, but yes, I just flew back from West Palm Beach.
And yes.
And yes, I just flew back in. I mean, my first whore, I hate to say it, was technically Melania.
No
but
way.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Melania.
We don't talk about that. That was actually my first.
Wasn't
whore.
your
I
first
met her.
wife like Slovenian or Slovakian or you like the European women? You like
I thought she
those?
was Romanian or
There's
something.
no.
Some shit.
There is no proof. I don't. deny
No,
that.
she looked like
No.
one. Blonde hair, blue eyes. The kids look like they look like they're Russian, Eastern European. Come on now.
Listen, she wanted papers. I just had to help her. But
Oh, you did do that.
Yes.
So Donald. So what do you think about this war? I mean, do you think Biden's at fault here? Do you think it's all Putin?
Yes.
I mean, who's at fault here? Is
Yes.
it Ukraine's fault?
Look,
Yes.
I plead the fifth. I know nothing of this war you speak of, or this guy. What would you say, Putin? I'm getting hungry now. I don't even know what a
Well,
Putin is.
you said he was a smart guy and he was such a leader. Like it's almost like you're like beholden to him. Like it's almost like he has something on you, Donald. I don't know why you kiss his ass so much. Why don't you talk shit about him directly? I mean, what's going on, man?
Oh, you're talking about my good friend Vladimir Putin.
Yeah. Putin.
Poutine. I mean, once again, I'm getting hungry just talking about it. But, I mean, I don't know what you guys are talking about. He has nothing over me. I mean, how I got to the president, to the presidential race and
Right.
how I was able to be president, that was all me. There was no connection with money coming in. And I don't even know what I just said, but yeah. That has nothing to do with me. Russia and me, we are just good friends. He is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I'm sure. But like I said, I thank you, Donald, for coming in and spending a couple minutes. I know you're so busy in between prostitutes and putting out incoherent statements on your whatever the hell website or app that you just came out with that's actually having problems. But we wish you all the best of luck, Donald, and we hope to see you in 2024 so you can run for president. In jail, though. Unfortunately, you're going to be running from a jail cell, but good luck.
Okay. Well, hearing that, Mr. Guru, I'm going to actually pack my bags, and I'm going to have to take a private jet to one of my islands. So
there's a new island available. Used to be owned by Epstein. I'm sure I know you're very familiar with that island.
Yeah,
I
feel like
my good friend
has been living on the plane with Trump this whole time.
What? Good. Thank you.
I feel like everyone that
has
has just like been involved with, I don't want to talk about it because those words shouldn't come out of our mouths. That shouldn't even be a thing. Has just been like hanging out with Donald Trump the whole time.
Well, who are you talking about? You talking about
We'll just call it like child enslavement.
Oh, okay. Again, another change up. Here comes Dre's gonna hit another home run here. Get ready.
No, we don't have to talk about it because like I feel like the world knows how
it
fucked
happens.
it up.
Yeah.
I feel like old white people with no hairlines are like, oh, this is for tonight.
But Josh, Grogu, let's go back because I know you're a historian. I know you love history. The Greeks. What were they involved in? What were they playing around? What did they do?
At first, the Greeks just really sat around and were
go
really
to the Romans.
at the sun.
Right, the Romans. But what were they into? They were into this
Romans.
stuff.
The Romans were like, ooh, you have different hair color. Put them on a boat with chains.
Yeah, but like I'm talking about the underage stuff. I mean, this has been going on for thousands of years. I'm not saying it's horrible.
Like a social customary thing. Even in the time of the samurais, the Romans, there was always a little lover boy there. You know, we have this. I think it's called I forgot the word of it. I think it's called shudo in Japanese, or genshudo, where it's like a up and coming apprentice to be a warrior or a samurai would be under the wing of a higher ranking lord.
So he's like a fluffer.
He's like it's like his little lover boy. Like his even the Greeks and the Macedonians, you know, they were brothers in arms and they were lovers. You know, a younger
like the 300. They say the 300.
They were all would be like the captain's little lover boy. And this was not an awkward thing. This even goes back to the gods and wrestlers and people in the Olympics. There was always someone's protege, which was always also their butt buddy, you know?
Yeah, but see, they don't. That's not glorified. That's kind of like
it was glorified back in the day.
Back in the day, I'm talking about now. That's considered hideous and illegal and criminal, and it is. And I'm just saying there's a reason why that exists in the dark shadows, because it's been going on for thousands of years.
Yeah, it's been probably we'll call it like a I don't know if we would say it's a genetic shadow desire that we humans, or traits. Maybe it's a trait, a social customary trait that we have always kind of kept.
A fucked up trait.
Yeah. It's a genetic gene that gets it's a part of the genetics of the person's soul.
It's almost like a primal human genetic trait that something about having your little butt buddy who's 4 years younger than you.
And so let's just say that the elites have these rings, butt buddy rings, and they train their children and friends. They have multiple friends that are in this butt club, and they train.
We'll call it the holy butt buddy circle.
the holy,
butt buddy. Circle.
So let's say you have a place on Earth where you can all meet up, and it's the biggest European country in Europe, and everybody can meet up there. I wonder, and everybody can meet up there.
I wonder which one.
I wonder which one is.
What's that one place in California? Camp what?
That's France. You're talking about France.
Weird rituals.
Oh, you're talking about shit. Oh Jesus. They sit there. Presidents have gone there, and they basically all dress up and they piss on each other and they're drunk.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like
Dre, come on, help me out.
We'll say it in like
we'll get it. It'll come to me.
Buddy elite community.
What are you talking about?
It's in California. Every year they do this.
Oh, you're talking about Bohemian
Grove.
Yes.
Yeah, again. There you go. What are they doing there?
Richard Nixon really said that they were on some butt buddy stuff.
Of course.
These are all satanic ritual locations to kill and murder and rape children.
These guys get married.
Let's talk about
women. So their friends are like, dude, your wife cooks so great, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but there were no women going to those festivals. No, very rarely. I think a few, but they were mostly
in the beginning, I think it was a male-only invitation.
Right.
But everybody knew if it was a male-only invitation, it was some buddy vibes.
Of course. I mean, famous people. Presidents and shit went there.
But didn't I tell you like a month ago? Yeah. As soon as Ghislaine Maxwell's trial gets finished, or she's gonna say the names, something big is gonna happen. And what happened? Straight to war.
Yeah, but you've been saying that a couple years now. That shit was
there's been more and more people who have been kind of disappearing from the pressure and radar that the society knows is like, oh, these people have been up to no good. We want answers. We want to see justice. But the problem is there will be no fair reprimand. There will be no justice for the lower level or echelon in society. We are just going to have to keep the wheel going while they keep lubricating the wheel the way they want.
Lubricating,
they're just lubricating, and the chemical that they're using is very toxic. It's known as bullshit. And people love bullshit,
Yeah, he's the king of it. Yeah, it's the king of bullshit right there.
And the answer is
bullshit. I bring forth the shit and bull.
Bullshit.
Yes, he does. But I mean, look, I just I look at it from the side that it's sad that they're doing this, and I know you're talking about the other side of it, the underbelly, but from looking at it from the above the iceberg, I always go below the iceberg. You know, you guys talk a lot about below the iceberg stuff. I look at above. I mean, innocent civilians are dying. I mean, war, is this really necessary? Like, I don't understand how this has to happen in this way.
I'll put it this way. I feel like as a person who plays a lot of strategy, there is no real benefit to what we would say an ugly war.
War is never nice, okay? There's not a nice war.
When we fight
it's not a nice war, bro. We've been in a war before before these bombs and things went off. That's what people don't understand. Like, this war's been started from a long time ago. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just manifesting like this.
The thing that I want to say is that this war is so flashy and drastic. It really does make me question what's really going behind the scenes. That isn't being. It's a fight that's just being concentrated in one nation. It's so strange to me. It makes me wonder what's happening in the Arctic. What's happening between Alaska and Russia? What's happening between Japan, China, and Russia? You know, where are the real fleets? Where are the real fleets? Where are the next fights going to happen? Not where just the most dramatic scenes are happening, because there is no real, like, we would say, effect of Ukraine being taken away. We would just know that Russia now has what they always thought belonged to them, and the nations there, the United Nations or the NATO, Turkey, Cyprus, Lebanon, Greece, Belarus, they'll all just feel kind of very alienated. Like, how could you let this happen? Now look who's at our doorstep. But we're just gonna have to realize that we always knew this was happening, and we never did anything to stop it. And then Putin is like, you know what? All this politics, all this bullshit. I'm sure that Putin won't last any longer as a leader in the next 10 years. And probably in the next 8 years, he'll be gone.
Shit, next year, where he's going.
Listen. My thing is how they treated Russia. People, like, they cut Russia off the whole planet. Like, they're taking off Russia, like, out of the FIFA.
Yeah, they were supposed to host FIFA, like, Champions League match. There was supposed to be Grand Prix matches.
Yeah.
Flights from Russia are being canceled. They're not allowed in air.
They need to be punished. I mean, you can't go to war. You can't attack them. So how do you hurt them? You hurt them in the pocket. You hurt their reputation.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like some communism to me.
Communism? But they are communists. He controls everything.
Let's put it this way. We take the capitalism. We take the capitalism out of socialism.
He's a thug life leader.
Thug life leader, but again, communism. You know, people throw around communism like there's all different levels of communism and socialism. Okay, he is a dictator. Like,
how do you fight Hitler? How do you fight everybody trying to turn communism? How do you fight another? How do you fight a war where the enemy is spreading like cancer to take over everything, to join NATO? And then they're right next door to your crib. You know what you do, and you got an army. You're gonna step up. You're gonna set it off.
Yeah,
we'll put it like this, and it's funny because I sent Dre that video
that are
earlier.
Ex-Soviet satellite countries, and they're part of NATO. But Ukraine was the red line. Bullshit. We
have to put it this way. Like we said, Ukraine has always wanted to live a better life. And the Russians don't want any nations to live a better life if it doesn't involve their benefit.
You're right, but
we know
control them for many years.
Even if the country goes socialist, as long as there's capitalism, communism has no room for negotiations. So we take the capitalism out of socialism, it's communism,
right?
For sure, and
you're right,
without a doubt. And
you're right.
And I'll tell you what.
But there's different levels.
We're Americans. We know the difference between being able to choose what you can do with your money and only having these options with your money.
People from America have no clue what communism really is.
Well, versions of communism.
Trust me, people who live in communism, they only have the option to save or just buy that. Save
not
and
even
suffer,
save.
or just buy that and survive.
Listen, my wife and my wife's family's from Cuba. My mother-in-law came back from Cuba. She said that there's hardly any food there. She gave all her stuff away for everybody. You know, this type of communism, socialism destroys a whole country and keeps it destroyed for a long time.
But who is behind it? It's very few people, dictators, a family, a ring of powerful people, the Castros. They kept that because they went in on a lie. They went in and back in the 50s and they said, oh, the fucking the people that were running Cuba are just they're the crooks, and they said we're gonna help you.
Them.
And
Yes,
and then what happened? La Revolution, and what happens? And then Castro took over, and then they took everything away.
Right. But what I'm saying is
one crook taken from another crook.
That America has never gotten to the point where you got to get in line to get food.
No.
Where you go. No, and we're getting to the point where you go to the store, there's no toilet paper, where there's no this,
but that's temporary. That's cyclical.
No, listen, man. Listen, bro. This is just like everything is programming. They're getting it used getting you used to it. Mm-hmm. Getting everyone used to it to get to the point. And so when they hit you with the mollywop on your head, and then they're like, yeah, no, you got to get in line to get food now. Then you're gonna be like, fuck, man.
The best way I can put it is like when it comes to some bullshit. Let's say America is a woman. America has been wearing some really good makeup for a long time, and that makeup is expensive. We're running out of that ink. We're running out of those olives. Now we have to see the bullshit for what it really is. And niggas have always ignored the bullshit. Like, oh, it's just makeup. Don't worry about that when the lights are off. The lights are going to come on. And there's going to be no makeup. Yep. And then one day the lights are going to come on. And that bitch is going to be barefaced. And we're going to deal. I'm talking about face-to-face, no makeup America. What is America without no makeup? Do you guys know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Well, our country is split. It's split right down the middle. You have people that believe one side and another side that believes something totally opposite, seems like. They don't trust each other. And, you know, politics, say what you want, but I mean, you know, the politicians control people and their opinions, depending on what they say. And it's becoming even more and more dangerous. I think we're at the point where, like, within 25 years, we might have another civil war. That's how bad it's getting, because I think people are that fed up. I'm saying within. It could be less. It could be 10. It could be 5. I don't know. I'm just saying in our lifetime.
Will it be a war versus the people, or would it be a war of some political faction fighting against the federal government's influence?
It's gonna be people rising up, protesting something, and then you're gonna see either local government stepping up with police, and then maybe they call in the National Guard, and then it spreads like you see in other countries. I can see that happening in the next.
I believe that
something's gonna happen.
Certain pockets of if this ever gets any worse, if the makeup just gets completely smeared, I feel
like an election.
I feel like there would be pockets of the United States that even the inbound National Guard or even the police departments, they won't no longer support or enable the government's crooked perception of law and order. And I feel like that's where the Federal Reserve and certain institutions that we don't really keep an eye on will bring their chess pieces into play that we don't see face to face.
Right. As long as, like Dre said, I know you see these barren shelves. If you get to that point where the shelves are empty and the money's not flowing, the checks aren't right. If that happens and then people aren't able to make money, people aren't to live their normal lives, then that's when you see this next step that you see in other countries where people start protesting, people start fighting.
Listen,
you start seeing like that beginnings of a civil war.
And you know what's
we're not there yet, but I think you're starting to see the division. You're starting to see that crack. You know,
I'm always a little estranged by what does a protest really change? Where do we really force or pressure the bigger key players here?
Hey, how did a Revolutionary War start? It was a protest. It was a bunch of people in downtown Boston protesting. I forget the event, and when a couple people died when the British opened fire and killed like 4 colonists. No. There you go. And they protested, and that started a war.
You know, we have to put it this way: what makes key players switch sides? We can think about like Benjamin Franklin, right? His father was an affluent English official.
Yep.
You know,
Franklin was a
Benjamin
pimp.
Franklin was well off.
He was a pimp.
He could have been an English
He
supporter,
was.
but he was like,
no,
I guess I'm American because
right.
that's what I want. So
Right.
where do we draw the line on a person who will make the sacrifice for a greater America, or the politicians who simply see America as, oh, this is as nice as it's gonna get. This is how we like it. It's not gonna change. We can't change the interest rate because you guys can't keep up with our bullshit.
I mean, like I said, I think for the meantime, our country's going to be fine. But I do think long term, we're heading in a direction where I think if they don't solve their political differences and we come to some kind of, and maybe that means a world war where then people, but even with this, you got people blaming the Democrats on what's going on in Ukraine. Like the other guy was black. He was blackmailing Ukraine into fucking getting dirt on Biden so they can get weapons. Right. Like we're blackmailing Ukraine, and then now we're blaming Biden. Like really? Like he tried. He. They say he didn't even know where Ukraine was on a map. Trump.
Listen, Biden's son is a
fucking
Biden's son. Okay, let's talk about it.
Not the dead one, the alive
one. Crackhead. The crackhead.
Yes, the crackhead.
Yes, Biden's son is a fucking a lobbyist for Ukraine. Right. He gets paid $50,000 a month.
Right.
The son of the president.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Is in Ukraine.
Right. Not right now.
Pelosi's son is in Ukraine.
Right.
Romney's son is in Ukraine, and there's one more I can't remember right now. Somebody else's son, some senator's son. All of these people, Democratic and Republican. Kerry's son.
Right.
Correct. So all of these people.
But they're politicians.
You don't think. No. But yeah, I mean, come on.
All
concentrated in one location. Don't. There's something fishy, bro. That's just like the Zelensky being an actor, and he's all of a sudden he's the fucking president. That's fishy. All of these things.
You know what's funny? I will put it in ancient terms. We'll put it if we're okay. We'll put it this way: if America is the Greeks, Russians are the Persians, and Ukraine is like
we got the 300.
We don't know what's really going on, quote unquote, with the Scythians. We just know that they ride horses and have a lot of resources, quote unquote. But in reality, the Greeks really know and the Persians really know what they want from the Scythians. The general population, which is us, we don't know what's really going on or what's the play.
We only know what the media tells us.
That's where Americans are getting caught up and swept up. Look at this horrible war. But they don't understand the real reasons why there is a war.
Resources. That's why there's a war. It's always about the resources.
Putin knows now two things. The world can change today or can change tomorrow. And who will change it? Me or the American?
People will change.
Will it be NATO who sways the influence over most of the world, or will it be Russia and its dominance, its aggressiveness? Who is going to be the real power player for the next 20 years to come from recovering from the coronavirus?
China. Not Russia. They're broke. They cut them off from the World Bank.
But you know what?
I know the gold. I know they got all this gold. I know that they knew this was coming.
Do you think that Russia will really? Do you think a country that was broke will really shoot the gun first?
Right. Exactly. I mean, you're going off of something that just happened a couple of days ago, bro. What you mean, man?
Yeah, but they've been planning this. They've been planning this for years.
Of course, they've been planning.
The Russians did what they did, knowing that they would get cut off.
Yeah. Knowing that they would get cut off, knowing that there's going to be a global financial reset, knowing all these things.
The highest number of Bitcoin.
All these things.
Ukraine has this. The surrounding countries, you have to understand, there's countries like Moldova and Belarus that are just waiting for the Russians to come back into the fold.
Right.
This is the way.
You know, we have countries like Turkey that are like, oh, there's Sukhois and MiGs flying through the Black Sea. Let them right through. Because the Turks could care less about what NATO really cares about.
Well, listen, shit's getting crazy now. Let's just forget about that nuclear plant that was getting attacked. But Turkey, there's a part of the Black Sea that goes out into the Mediterranean. I forget the name. It's called I forget the name of it. But anyway, during wartime, they can shut it down to all shipping vessels that are not
correct.
That are
You're
not.
talking about the Dardanelles and
yes, right. There you go. So the Turkey has now said that we're not going to allow any ships that are not stationed in the Black Sea. They have to get out. They can only be there for 30 days. They have to get out. And the Russians, they have ships that are stationed in Crimea, which of course they took from the Ukrainians in 2014 because they didn't like the fact that they're releasing out the base. They're like, nah, we're just going to take the land
no,
and we're
what
going to
really
take it.
happened
But
is
there's
Putin had
going to be a
kidnapped
problem. There's
the
going to be a
naval
problem
base's
in about a month.
commander's family, and that's why things have turned out so dirty down there.
Yeah, but they're again. This is I this is where I will agree with Dre. I think this is heading towards some kind of regional, if not a world war, because it seems like Putin wants a war. Maybe the Americans do as well, but they have to do it where they don't look like the ones that are starting it. You know what I'm saying?
This is my theory. I believe that people are pulling their blades out to see who will pick which side. I think that Russia says, "Oh yeah, who wants to fight? But who's with me?" And
Only like 4 or 5 countries. That's it. Everybody else is with Ukraine.
Which nations in the UN and NATO really don't feel like being a part of the UN and NATO.
Everyone's with NATO. Look at the countries that voted with Russia: Cuba, China, Syria.
But
again, they depend on Russia.
We have to put it.
China doesn't, but they're abstaining.
We have imposed our dominance and influence.
Yes.
Through the last war, which was over 60, 70 years ago. The forms of combat and warfare have changed now. People might be saying on paper we're with the NATO, but in reality, whose bets are really on NATO? That's where I'm getting at. We have to understand the small changes and strange oddities, peculiarities of certain nations that have now.
You gotta.
We have to understand how many separatists are just only in Ukraine. There's other people in other nations that evidently find the Russian influence to be very beneficial. And
like Nazis.
This is where the war will break things out. We have to remember, even in the war of Los Malvinas, where England and Argentina had fought it out, the Chileans had secretly helped out the English. This is what we have to see here. Who will secretly help out the Russians? Who will secretly help out the Russians secure a victory?
Well, they're going to win. It's just the amount of troops they lose.
Listen. I mean,
NATO
is like a name that NATO is just telling you that it's the cabal funding all these countries that don't have money. You need help. It's like when you're in a fight. You in a fight with a gang. Mm-hmm. You can't fight the whole gang. You need to go get a pistol. So who do you go? You go to your neighborhood NATO. Who could give you you got money? They're gonna give you a gun. They're gonna give you a Glock. They're gonna give you a fucking AK.
How many nations in NATO are using French fighters, English fighters, German fighters? But what did they have to do? They had to pay tooth and nail to receive this military support from the true members of NATO, which we will call OTAN, France, England, Germany. These are the true members. They are the true elite. All the other members of OTAN are just
29.
They're on the
29.
field. They're just the wall.
But but together they're one. I mean, they're smaller, and maybe obviously their militaries aren't as strong. But they had to join NATO because why? You had Russia, and look what's going on in Ukraine. They realize that, and that's why Russia's taking Ukraine, because they know that Ukraine wants to join NATO. And they would have that protection. Hell, Finland. The Russians have gone after Finland and Sweden, saying, "Hey, if you change your posture, and maybe talk about NATO, we may get involved." So they're gonna invade Finland.
Why do you think that though?
Why? Because they want to take over Europe.
Let Grogu speak. Now, in World War II, the Russians tried invading Scandinavia.
Yeah, and how'd that work out for them?
Horrible losses.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like these Russians are vindictive? They want what they're owed. Mm-hmm. They first were with the Axis powers, switched sides, and the Allied forces were like, "Nah, you're traitors and you're snakes, and you're a bunch of communists. You are no different than some socialist freaks that feel like killing Jews."
Yep. Right after the war, yeah.
And Russia has always suffered the brunt of that stigma, being known as bastards that will do anything to secure a dub. It's true.
Hey, if the shoe fits, wear it. I mean, look, let's not act like the Russians are some like victim of fake news, or they did what they did. I mean, Stalin killed generals during World War II. Things didn't go well. He shot He shot, basically went through
Right, right.
generals.
Right.
Let's not act like
That's
Russia's
the
some
communist
fucking
way.
right.
But but what you got to understand is the whole world is ran by the whole world is gangs and mobs. So
yes, high level.
At high level, even Putin is a high level Kabbalist, but he might be a Kabbalist and do good things. Also, he has to do bad things. You know what I mean? Because he has
bad.
all of these people. Yeah, because but the bad guys. Let's say he's a good guy, and the bad guys own the TV stations and everything that gets put on TV and all the stations in the world. Do you think that the bad guys are going to put anything bad on TV about themselves? No, they're gonna put. This is what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that Putin is good, but this is a battle between. And it's like everybody's kind of has this facade, like everybody wants like a Disney World type of ending, like a war. Oh, let's be nice about this war.
Exactly.
This is not. This is
Everybody
war.
wants to make it colorful, like a chameleon, but it's still a reptile. It's still cold-blooded.
It's still cold-blooded. This is war, and we're now that it's live and direct. All of a sudden,
it's by minute. It's no more. You go to the local theater in the 40s saying, "Oh, tonight's update on the front, the Allies are moving on the Nazis." No, it's like fucking minute by minute on Twitter. Like I'm literally listening to these spaces, finding out news as it's happening. We're finding this news out, and it's just crazy how war is just. It's like a video game. You play these video games, you're seeing how things happen. It's literally happening right in front of us at real time. And we're finding shit out.
I want to say something interesting too. Yeah. We have to look about how the world has integrated certain things. I want to go back to like in Japan when the first samurai became prominent, they had to subjugate a whole other part of Japan that was not Japanese, that was not Yamato. And what did they do? They had proposed the idea of marrying these chieftains or high-ranking lords or warlords of the certain emishi areas of Japan and integrated them into their system of government through means of religion, monetary, and status. This is still prominent in today's world. Politicians, lobbyists, businesses still find their way to make connections. And we can see this even in Chile with Pinochet having his family members marry into businesses, armed forces, and making connections with other governments.
Yeah, they all do that. You're right. You're right.
This has happened for centuries. So we will put
and
it
continues to happen.
The samurai that were not originally samurai have their own sense of ideals and cultures. Now joining with this very noble, we would say the imperial sense of nobility, this creates the dividend. The people who simply want to live a better life and not get caught up in the bullshit of nobility, like certain people that we know in today's world, like Trump, Putin, they give this air off of a certain sense of authority. But we don't really know how gilded their authority has been, or in the sense that it has been created or permeated through society. We've all been, in a sense, under the illusion that we don't understand how disposable and expendable we are as citizens.
Oh yeah, we're pigs to the slaughter.
You know what I'm saying? So the people who were integrated in the years of the Yamato, oh yes, become a part of our system, become a samurai. They were just expendable people who had to play along with the rules of the game to stay alive, to play this life at a better level.
Right, play the game.
And we are still doing this. People are still playing the game at a higher level.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. You are speaking the truth, my brother. And like I said, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. But the end game is, I know, some people might say, well, it's going to get rid of all the pedophiles in the world. It's going to bring on this new world order or this new age. I just think it's going to be the same old song. This is going to be a war. It's going to be regional. Hopefully they tamp down and Russia will learn their lesson. Maybe they get rid of Putin. I think the mobsters that are losing money, at some point, Putin's going to end up getting pushed out of a 6-story building. It's already started. They've already the other day.
Now when you got an army, ain't nobody pushing Putin.
Oh yeah, but let's say he doesn't wake up one morning, or if somebody gives him some tea, or you know what I'm saying? Like not he owns an army, but guess what? There's people in his inner circle right now that probably aren't too happy what's going on. High-ranking generals,
Are
and the
you
people coming
kidding
up.
me?
Yeah,
Man, them people
yeah.
are. Listen, man. It
Okay.
ain't. Listen. They're not. Those dudes are backing up Putin, bro. I mean, Putin is ex-KGB. You think he doesn't know about these things?
I understand
Come
that, but
on,
when you
come
take
on,
away their
man.
money, when the world takes away your money and your ability to make money and your avenues to make money, don't you think these Russian mobsters and oligarchs going to be like, I don't know. I mean, we had a good thing going here. We have our nice high rises in sunny Isles, and
Yeah.
in London, Little Russia. In London, there's a part of London they call it Stalingrad or something, where it's all those Russian millionaires and billionaires. That money's not going to be coming in. At some point, don't you think some of these oligarchs say, you know what, man, I think Putin needs to go. I think we need to show him his hat, show him to the door.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying, but man,
it's
I don't
not
think he has
that.
the
It's not
airtime.
like that, bro. They wouldn't go. They wouldn't jump in a war to be pussyfooted out in a week, 2 weeks,
or maybe are you desperate? Maybe
come
you're
on,
desperate
they
by
know.
doing that.
Listen, they know they were going to get cut off, just like what Grogu said. They know what they were going to get cut off. They know that they know what they got into.
Right.
You know, they're not. You know, I'm pretty sure they got a lot of shiny yellow bricks laying around.
I'm sure they do. They do. I know. I read a story where they own a shitload of fucking gold to offset this. But again, over time, I don't care. I mean, you're losing these revenue streams. That's only going to take you so far, and then you got to worry about the soldiers that are fighting and didn't even know where the hell they were going, and some are deserting. What happens at home? The Russian people at home they're going to eventually find out what's going on, because I know the Russians, they own the media, like obviously the media here. There's a certain narrative, but they're acting like the Russians are kicking ass, and no, they're not. They're being inept. Their military is doing horrible right now, considering.
Yeah, it's as if the Russians are very sporadic, and we're trying to give them that blitzkrieg effect mentally.
Yeah, well, they're fighting like a bunch of. I mean, like just listening to the strategy, like they could very easily raise these towns, and maybe they're doing it. They're being cautious because they don't want to kill civilians.
You know what it is. I feel like the Russians,
but they're killing their soldiers in the process.
I feel like the Russians are fighting sporadically to see who will be drawn out. They're trying to bring some type of enemy into the fray where they'll be like, oh, we're fighting all over the place. But once a chess piece is on the field, they're going to pounce on that chess piece and surround it.
Yeah.
So they're playing dumb. I feel like they're playing in a very
they're costing
like playing
a lot of
soccer right off the bat, kind of like noobs, like novices. But they really know what they're doing.
Well, I don't know, man. From at the ground level, listening to people that have seen their movements, it sounds like that they're doing a piss poor job, and they felt like they were going to ride into Ukraine, drop some paratroopers in Kiev, and they would capitulate, and they would kill Zelensky, and they would be like, okay, it didn't happen.
Paratroopers,
right? And they got mowed down.
Just in the
and they got mowed down.
Periphery of the cities.
Yeah, because if they go into the cities, they get shot down. Every time the Russians send a transport plane over major cities to try to land in an airport, they get killed.
Yeah,
their best soldiers were getting killed.
Too. We have to imagine the most closest nation to Russia, especially Ukraine, who knows the contention between them, the drama between them. We have to know that there's evidently been a lot of preparedness for this. Preparedness in the sense that I know you've heard of the ghost of Kiev.
Yeah.
Things like that. The capital airspace won't be defended by a bunch of bloats,
Yeah.
The Russians are coming in like henchmen, fighting people who have been waiting for this for years.
Yeah. When looking at the map, when you look at the map, because Josh is very good at strategy and war games over the years. When you're looking at the map of Russia and Ukraine, there's only so much that they can go through on the right side of Ukraine and on the north side of Ukraine, because they have to get into Belarus. They have to come through the water.
Yeah, fighting over the Black Sea is not to their advantage if a fleet from NATO from the south were to come up, because they're not only losing craft over the ocean, and you have to remember, fighting over the ocean, weather conditions, this and that. that is not the fight you want, especially when they can
now
be
it's in the
naval
winter
ships
still.
shooting from below with the aircraft
Right.
up top.
Right.
Major casualties in a naval engagement, especially
Yeah.
trying to engage a nation that is prepared for this. The only advantage the Russians have is that they took the Crimean Peninsula, but
They
it's
took
only
that
the
naval
advantage
base.
if they were defending.
Well, again, the Ukrainians know their country, and you have an invading army that doesn't know. Like, there's stories of Ukrainians in the towns. They tell the people on the roads, take down the signs or remove them with a different name. So a lot of them are saying "fuck you, Russia" or "go back," or because the people, they don't know. They don't know the area, and then there's maps, but they're not like us, like the U.S. military. They got GPS. They can find shit. Dude, the Russian soldiers, their shit is nowhere near what we do here in the States. And I mean, just hearing story after story, I just tend to believe Russia miscalculated. Okay, and that's why they get their ass kicked.
Of course.
You think they don't have GPS in 2022?
Dude, I'm just telling you what I've been told.
I'll put
and what
it this
they're
way.
saying.
A country that used to be Russian.
Yes,
they don't have the.
No,
they don't have
not
the
Ukrainians.
roads.
No, dude, the regular army soldiers. They are what they're given, the way they move around. They're not given like GPS systems like we have. These regular ass conscript soldiers, 18-year-old kids. They're not getting the shit that we got.
Drafted and thrown into
the
right.
The people that are bunkered down at the edge of their cities, waiting for the onslaught, are not technologically prepared. And we have to also understand this: the Russians who have just jumped out, maybe 400 to 800 troops per plane or per brigade, they don't really have the in-depth UAV or in-depth eye on where they are and where to mobilize and who to attack. The Russians just know the city is in this direction. They don't know who's ready and who's not. Where are the pinpoints? They don't know where the other brigade is in the open farmland or the open rugged land of Ukraine, because they don't know whether the Ukrainians have really brought out armored battalions, bombers, this and that. That's why we see millions of Russians just parachuting into the nothingness of the wilderness. These troops lagging behind, and you have to understand, they're fighting in the summer. Well, it's summer for us. I don't know what
No, it's late winter for them. It's late winter for them.
So yeah, once they're probably just burying in the snow, waiting for the weather to get better, and hopefully draw out they're waiting for the UN to draw in their forces, and once they're entrenched from waiting in the snow so long, they'll have a better advantage or understanding of how the fight and sway will move.
Yeah. Well, we got, as like I said, at the end of the day, I pray for both soldiers for both countries, because they're pawns for evil leaders. I mean, you could argue one side is evil, one is good, but whatever. Both sides are playing a game with lives of Ukrainian and Russian soldiers.
I think that's what upsets me the most. I think that these people, these politicians, these grubby people, these greedy bastards, they're not on the front. Their son is not fighting on the front line. You know what I'm saying? They have nothing to lose.
Yep. I'm telling you, listen to that.
It's mind control, baby.
Yeah, listen
mind control, baby.
And also talking about Russia and like all their technology and all that. Yeah. A bunch of hackers hacked Putin's fucking yacht, his most expensive yacht, and like moved the GPS over like if it crashed, like it was like going somewhere, and they made it seem like it crashed.
What?
Yeah, they hacked the GPS on it. It showed that
like,
it was
and
like
we have also seen signs of certain groups that have exposed or, in a sense, ridiculed the Russians for their arrogance. I don't know if you heard about that one group, Anonymous, taking over the Russian airways
for a while. Yeah. Yep.
It's interesting how the Russians may seem so imposing, but they can't stop the slightest ants from crawling up their armor.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. It'd be like that.
Well, that's the other war that's going on, the electronic war, and that's constantly going on, daily, hourly. You know, well,
it's just strange to me. We don't really know. We don't really know when the dawn.
Point Boston lead. Jackson's got 11.
Whoops.
And we go to the game. We go to the live update. Boston.
We're going live to the
Who's
NBA
winning?
game.
Who's winning? Who's winning,
Came out to buy it
Trajkovic?
with a monster
And
slam.
the Heat just won, beat them.
Oh, you just gave it away,
Brooklyn.
bro. I'm watching the game. Damn it. No, you ruined it for me. Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks a lot, man. Now I'm watching a game that I already know the result. Fucking A, man.
It's always good to watch a competition stress-free, you know.
Yeah, I guess. But I always like to, I always like the emotion when I actually know it without having to know the result already.
Speaking about the Heat, I'm not gonna lie.
Sean likes
great.
them toxic type of guys.
Guru. Who's Sean? Who are you talking about? Hey, Guru. I don't know who Sean is. Who the hell is this Sean person?
Can't drop his government.
Oh no.
No, mate.
No, mate. But
no, it's Guru.
It's Guru.
All
day, every day. But wow. But yeah, it was amazing. I really enjoyed this conversation with you, Josh. You brought it today. You made us all smarter, I think. And I feel a little dumber because I really just I feel like I understood everything, but it's like I couldn't articulate like that. Maybe 10 years ago, but now I'm just like,
man, trust me, my brain is fried, man. I'm just good at killing people on Call of Duty. Don't even worry about it.
Well, you need to utilize that noggin of yours because you definitely understand.
And hold on, let me bring another conspiracy to this.
Here we go.
Call of Duty.
Yes.
What did Call of Duty the last Warzone stop? Where's Warzone? Verdaskins. Where's Verdaskins?
Yeah, where is it?
I think it's in it's in Georgia or one of the states.
No, it's in Ukraine.
It's in Ukraine?
Yeah, that map is Ukraine.
It really looks like Ukraine. I didn't want to say that.
Yes.
I didn't want to say that, but I was going to really say,
Is it still there, the map? You can still play it or no?
You can play on Ukraine. You can play on Verdansk, but it has to be like a ground war mission or like a ground war.
Oh, because like I played it the other day and it's playing in like the Pacific on Warzone. I don't like it.
Yeah. But no, like if you play ground war, you will still play in Warzone. Like you will play in Verdansk ground war. Like I do it sometimes.
It's a big old map. You'll be in a big old section of the map.
Like you'll be in like the docks or like a certain part of the city, or like I like fighting over the storage town, like the storage houses. That's a fun one.
Yeah, I was playing it the other night because I was like, let me get back into it because since I'm watching war, I'm like, let me start shooting people. And I was playing in the Pacific.
And yes.
Yeah, and I was like,
is
it just me?
It almost
or the graphics? It's weird.
Call of Duty really just like. It really almost gives you that in-depth, like future predicament. Like it's a city with an air base, an air base, and an airport that's been bombed, an air base that's been bombed.
They know
the city is destroyed a little bit, and it's almost the perfect depiction. And we have to remember, Call of Duty. This isn't the first time it's kind of got things on the dot, because I think it's Modern Warfare 3 that kind of tells us World War 3, and it says that it happens in February. It happens in March.
Is that the one where they're like the paratroopers are invading like some town in the U.S. and like you have to go into like a McDonald's. You have to end up in like a McDonald's fighting off Russian soldiers. That shit was crazy playing that.
Yeah, I think that was it. But you know what's
I was like, damn, I'm in the McDonald's.
I'll tell you right now, we only know about the conflict in Ukraine. Who knows what fight right now is going off over the Pacific or over the Antarctic or over
there's stuff
Alaska.
that we don't.
We don't know what fleets are engaging. What shots are being fired between other nations. We don't know if Japan and the Russians are having their small little skirmish right now. We don't know if Finland and the Scandinavian nations have just sent like 50 planes over to fight the 100 planes of Russians that are
get out.
In the sky.
It'd get out. We'd find out. But I was joking. I was like, you guys saw Red Dawn, the original Red Dawn, not the new one with
back in the day.
Yeah, not the no one. Well, I said that
trash.
I know it wasn't that good, but the old one, I always tell people, I was like, man, the Russians want to clean up this war. They need to get that old fucking guy in Red Dawn because he came in and he was beating up on those Wolverines. You remember the old Russian they got from? He came in and he kind of changed everything up. They need to bring him out of retirement. He's probably dead now, but they need to bring him back because they need a new general.
Maybe that talking about We got just to change it for 1 second. Talk about coming out of retirement.
Just 1 second, yeah.
Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Miami Dolphins.
Who?
Miami Dolphins legend Jason Taylor joining the Miami Hurricanes football program.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. He's going to be a defensive.
Yes.
Like a I don't know. He's not gonna be a coach per se. He's gonna be kind of like a advisor.
Will he be like a fitness advisor or like a
like he'll be there like someone.
He's an on and off field role,
right.
Yeah, and Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain is joining the Dolphins, baby.
Bro, good. You want to get into sports? I love it.
What's crazy?
Have you met the coach?
The
have you
Dolphins
seen
had
this
like
guy?
broken the record for like the most losses and wins or something like that.
And gets fired.
Well, it's a good question. What happened to that Dolphins coach that was fired, and there was some type of racial?
He got hired by the Steelers.
Got hired by the Steelers because the Steelers coaches.
But they were saying
the NFL said
they weren't going to fire him, or he got a text from someone like, "I'm so happy you got the job," before they even fired him.
Yeah, he was texting. Another coach had texted him, and I guess the coach Belichick, I thought he was texting the other Brian, and that's where Flores got all like, you're talking about this other guy, not me, and then that was just part of his lawsuit, which is but
What else did he say? Do you feel like there was some racial oddity there, like some odd?
Oh, there is. There is a level of racism in the sense that the owners are not hiring their I don't want to say quota.
They're just doing it because they have to put on the airs of fairness. Like, we have to do this. We have to interview, a Mexican coach, an African American coach.
Right, but we argued this a few weeks ago. We did an episode, and my whole thing was you're not gonna stop an owner from hiring who he wants. And maybe he doesn't want to hire a black guy or a Spanish guy or an Asian guy. He wants to hire an old white dude that has experience. No. I mean, no. Who's to tell you? Who's to make you hire that person or hire that color?
Yeah, you're right.
It's like a force. It's like a quota.
This is what you're gonna do, but the world is gonna judge it. Why so slow? Whether the world judges it as this, due to your own, judgment, you wanted it this way, and there's nothing wrong with having it your way when you yourself are the owner of the team or you are looking out for the best interest of the team.
Yep. Unless you can prove it. Which is very hard, other than looking at it as a macro view. There was like some in-depth comment, like, "Yo, I don't like this mother beep," Right, but guess what? There's the NFL is covered up. If the thing about the Redskins scandal with there's a lot of shit that they covered up, like emails sent from the owner to different coaches, talking about players, talking about different coaches, colored coaches. There's stuff that the NFL is kind of holding back. And Flores is kind of digging at that, and I think the NFL is like being very smart about this because if that shit gets out,
how'd you end up here?
Yeah. Well, I that's another topic for another day. I mean, we could spend about 20 minutes, but we got the Mandalorian on our ass right now. So
but, I'm on your ass now, boy.
Yeah, but again. Grogu, thank you for coming on again, bro. You got it. You got to come back and join us again.
This is the way,
right? And we'll talk about the way.
I'm like the ghost of Kiev. I come when you need me the most.
He's badass too.
I only appear from the darkness.
That's a badass guy. Let me tell you. He flew. They say he flew. He shot down some planes. Flew to Romania. Reloaded. Got his. It's like a fucking movie. Like. When's the movie coming?
And I feel like he has like some deep-seated like kind of contention with the Russians. Like a Russian like fucked my sister.
Great.
He's Ukrainian. Most
they
Ukrainians
fuck my sister,
Russians.
But they won't fuck my country.
Yeah.
Makes no difference to me.
You dirty red. I
can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
I love him.
I feel like the ghost of Kiev is like a Mandalorian kind of guy.
He is. He probably is. And he's got a little baby Grogu in there, and they're playing with him.
No droids.
I'm not gonna lie. Did everyone caught up on?
Yes, we're all caught up. Yes.
On Boba
I like those odds.
God, that was
awesome.
That was awesome. The last episode comes in.
Fuck yeah! I can't wait for Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's coming out.
Obi-Wan's coming out too. Yeah. And honestly, I thought what's gonna happen was I thought Baby Grogu was gonna come in with the Starfighter and just fuck him up.
Oh, nah. He was too attached to the Mandalorian, so he's not a Jedi now. He gave it up. That's what he gave it up. Sorry, baby Grogu. You're not gonna be a Jedi. You're just gonna be moving shit around and then fall asleep because you're a baby. Exactly. All right, well, guys, thank you for coming on. This is the Los Chilenos boys, La Familia Chilenos, with the Fam 305. We have Dre, K Dub,
And yes,
Donald Trump made an appearance. Thank you. And baby Grogu.
America.
Yes, America. We'll be saved from you once you're in jail soon enough. And then they can have DeSantis. DeSantis can run for president. That scumbag. But we'll talk about him another day. So, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. Check us out, the Fam 305.
Like, share, subscribe.
That's right. Y'all take care.
All right. And love, peace, not war.
Love, peace, not war.
Oh, God. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Fam 305.